Hi, my name is Jake Goldschmidt. I'm a realtor in Minnesota with Keller Williams Classic Realty up in Blaine. And so I was just going to do a quick video kind of talking about new construction. So I've been doing a lot of new construction. I've sold a lot of new construction over the past 5 years. And just questions I get from people, things that people want to know about it, or things that I think are beneficial to people who want to build a new home or buy a spec home. And so we'll kind of jump into it. And so the first thing is kind of picking out a builder. So you always want to pick out a builder, figure out who you like, who does great work, check out their previous work, that kind of a deal. Then what you're going to want to do is figure out what they offer. And so what I recommend is looking at the spec sheet or asking for a spec sheet. So figure out what the builder actually puts in every single home. Do they offer the washer and dryer, or do they not offer a washer and dryer? Do they offer a refrigerator? Because some builders don't have to. Do they offer? Do they do hardwood flooring, or do they do laminate? Is there standard? Do they add doorknobs and like our cabinet knobs? Is that standard for them, or is that not standard? Is that an upgrade? And so knowing these questions, asking these questions ahead of time, and looking at the spec sheet is very beneficial for a lot of first-time home buyers or first-time builders, people who are going to build their first home, because you want to know what that's going to look like. Other good questions to ask a builder is going to be, who do they subcontract to? So who are they going to use as contractors? So what carpet company do they use, or flooring, or cabinet company, or things like that? So you want to make sure they have hire good people. You want to make sure that they're building it correctly, the way that you want it to be built. So that's a good question to ask, is who are you hiring out, who are you hiring out to? So what kind of contractors are you hiring out to? Another question I always like to ask too is, do you have any problems with completion? So some builders are going to have more problems with completion depending on the market. Like right now we have a lot of lumber shortages, or lumber is very expensive, so it's making it a little bit more difficult, or labor shortages and things like that as well. So you ask the builder, have you had any incompletions, or are you having issues completing your homes on the time that you specified? Also making sure when you look at the contracts, when you sign those, make sure that you read the contracts thoroughly, especially with your realtor. Make sure your realtor reads them thoroughly to see what their completion date has to be. So a lot of builders go, oh, we have to complete it within 2 years. And so 2 years is a long time. Usually they're about 6 months, 4 to 6 months. But lately they've been even more like 9 months, even longer with some builders. So you want to know when they're going to be completed, if they have any issues with completion. Another great question to ask a builder or ask the builder's rep is that how many homes do they build a year? So if you're going with a small builder, it's good to know what they're gonna, like how many they do, the quantity, because then sometimes that can affect the quality of it, that kind of a deal. With more national builders, it's not as important because they do a ton. They just do a ton of deals. So, but it's also good to know that they are doing deals, they're building homes, they're building them correctly. If they do a number of them, it's like, okay, why do they only do so many or so few or whatever? Are they higher end builders, so they do less homes, things like that. So you want to ask these questions ahead of time so you know who you're getting into business with. Another great question to ask is what type of home warranties do you offer? So in the state of Minnesota, we call it a 10, or it's a 1, 2, 10, and so they have standard home warranties that they offer for new construction builds. But do they offer extended warranties, or do they offer things that are better than what the state standard is? And so some builders do. Some offer 15 years on their foundation and structural engineering and like stuff like that. Some offer just the standard. So knowing what the standards are, knowing what they offer as well, and then even asking them questions on if something breaks or something has an issue in the first year or the first couple of years, what do you do to remediate that problem? Do you come back in here? Do you hire somebody? What is the situation? How do you handle this problem effectively and efficiently? Another great question is asking for incentives. So it's asking what the builder does to kind of promote themselves or make them more valuable to you. So asking for incentives doesn't hurt. In certain markets, you're just not going to get anything, or you might not get as much. In some markets, they might offer something. So you go, hey, can we have a reduction on this deck? Or can we have a, can you throw these in as an upgrade? If we use your preferred title company and lender, will you give us a washer and dryer, or things like that? So there's always that give and take, and it doesn't hurt to ask for incentives with building with these certain specific builders. Another great question I like to ask the builder is, if you're building from scratch, how much money do they want down up front? So there's earnest money, which is usually in every transaction in real estate. But you want to know how much do they usually charge? What's their standard? Is it $10,000? Is it more? Is it 5%? Is it this percent or whatever it is? You want to know how much they want as a earnest money amount or down payment or a lot holds or whatever they charge you to do that. And then if you're building from scratch, are you getting a building loan and paying them to build it like that, or do they carry the cost of building and do it themselves? And so that's a good question to ask: is who's going to carry that loan? What is the cost for the earnest money amount or the down payment or whatever they charge? What are the lot prices? That's another good one as well. Just knowing these ahead of time, it makes it a little bit better for you. So when you're making decisions, you can go, okay, I need to have 5% of the sales price as a earnest money, so I need to have that up front. If I'm assigned with this builder, I have to push this, give them this cash right away, and preparing for that and being ready for that. And kind of one last thing is, like, a lot of my clients, or a lot of my clients have worked with me, and I'm a buyer's rep, so I rep them in that transaction. I rep them on the buy side of buying their new construction home. And some people go straight to the builder, which you can do whatever you like, it's in the end, but I think it makes more sense to hire a buyer's agent in this situation, because you want somebody that kind of represents you, takes care of you, and has fiduciary duties to you. I mean, I've had clients where they had homes that were going to be finished, and 2 weeks before closing, the house flooded because a painter left the rags in the sink and flooded the whole house. And my clients go, I don't want the house anymore. Well, if they didn't have a buyer's agent on that, they probably wouldn't have had as much negotiating power. And so we were able to get out of that deal, and they gave us a better deal on a pre-existing home that just got finished. And so there's situations, there's solutions, but you always want to have somebody that's in your corner that's going to defend you and represent you at the highest level. And so it doesn't hurt to talk to somebody before you go talk to a builder, and you kind of want that representation just for your benefit. Even if they're not doing as much during the transaction, they're not doing the color schemes and all that stuff, they're going to help you in the long run. And usually the builders already have their compensation built into the price of the home, so they're probably not going to give you a deal just because you don't have a realtor. So but if that's kind of it for my segment for today. If you have any questions about buying, selling, or investing in real estate or new construction, I'll have my information down below, and yeah, you can feel free to reach out. And yeah, if you have any questions about getting into the real estate industry, feel free to message me as well. I'm always willing to help and talk to people about getting into real estate or some type of industry in the real estate industry. So if you have any questions though, feel free to contact me with my information is below. Thanks.